Hi all, welcome to the Creative Agile IT. So this is our ninth video on Scrum Master interview questions prep series. So today's question is based on the topic of metrics that can be used for the backlog health. So this is our ninth question as part of the series. What metrics as a Scrum Master will you consider to check on the product backlog health? Again, this is a very important question because the interview wants to understand the experience not just in terms of ways of working or the process or knowledge about the Scrum framework, but also about the tool. Nowadays, whether it's a Jira, Azure DevOps, or any other tool, Rally or version 1, it provides a set of metrics which can easily be used to understand whether our backlog is healthy or not. So we want to understand, what metrics are the basic ones that can be utilized to understand the backlog health of our project. So let us understand the answer of this question. So these are the five set of metrics. The very first one is stories with no acceptance criteria. So if a story doesn't have an acceptance criteria, that means it's not ready. So that is the very first basic metrics. Second metric that can be considered is the stories with no story points. That means it hasn't been estimated by the team. So once the team understand, okay, whether the story is big enough, whether it will fit into the sprint. So estimation could also help us to arrive at the right size of the stories. Third one is the orphaned stories. So normally, whenever we work on a large product development, we never find a backlog consists of just the stories, right? I mean, we will have to structure our backlog in the form of like epic features and the stories. So how many stories we have in our project or for the product development that we have maintained, which doesn't link to any of the epic and features. So that will also give us a good idea about our backlog health. Fourth parameter is the ready stories percentage. So how many of our stories are in the ready for development state compared to the total backlog stories? So that percentage will also indicate about our backlog health. Fifth and the last one, as part of the P6 set of metrics, is the stories which are aging in a particular state. So how do we know whether our story is stuck for in a particular state? I mean, there is a story lying in a ready for development, but it hasn't been picked for the 4 weeks. So these are the parameters which we have to consider as part of the backlog health. Now, I just thought, like, in order to easily remember these five set of metrics, can I use or can we use an acronym? So I just came up with one acronym which I am terming as clear. Clear for the backlog health metrics, where C represents clarity on the acceptance criteria, L represent the linked stories, number of stories which are linked, and number of stories which are not linked. E is the estimated stories, A is the aging of the stories, and R is the ready stories percentage. How many stories we have in our backlog which are ready for development compared to the total backlog stories. So that's all about today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you so much.